What's up, guys? Joe here, back with Trager Farms. I know it's been a week or two. I've been super busy. Been seeing clients over 3 states lately. I have a couple more different states later on in the summer. But I've been back home, really. We've had buckwheat in the ground a few weeks now. Been cleaning guns, trying to do a lot of the little things right and just stay organized and ready. These trips are just awesome, meeting great people, but taking it out of me and having a lot of fun, though, with the whole process. I wanted to continue our simple series real quick, just with the phone, nothing too fancy, but at least get something out to you guys. We wanted to talk about stand placement today. I know we've covered a few things, bedding areas and travel corridors, I think food plots. But real quick, overall, kind of on our strategies, bring you over to my whiteboard here. The general rule of thumb that we're going to have for something like this is what we call perpendicular access. And what that means is if we have, let's say, our trail going down the west side of the property here, what we don't want to do is walk in on the same path generally the deer are. Now, sometimes that will come into play. Maybe we're walking a field edge and we're blowing our scent into somewhere in particular. It makes more sense. However, if it's something a little more simple, let's say we have an access path, whether you create one, you already have one going, and we have a deer trail, whether it's natural or we made a travel corridor. We want to poke in briefly from where we are walking to where we can monitor the trail. And so that way the deer aren't going to pick up on our scent and where we've been walking the whole time. And we're able to leave our access and set up just on where we expect the deer to come through. That's going to minimize scent. It's going to put us somewhere not on our access where we expect deer to be. And really, ultimately, the other reason we're doing this is so that we can blow our scent over onto the outside, whether it be the neighbors, a valley, or something like that. The worst thing we can do in a situation where, let's just say we have a rectangular property, plots on the other side, is go ahead, park our truck down here and walk all the way through, blow everything out. The majority of our properties, I would say this year, the average property is probably around 80 acres. If I was to pick kind of a mean. And if you do that and you bump deer, every deer on that property is gone. Okay. So it's super, super important that we don't do that. Now, there can be occasions where that may work for a certain property. For example, we are blowing our scent, let's say, into a giant pond that's here, somewhere where deer are not expected to be. We blow our scent over that. Maybe it's natural, kind of human scent for whatever reason. It's a factory or who knows. It's already expected to be there, or it's something like a pond where the deer are not just laying in the pond and catching our scent and blowing out that way. So when you guys are thinking about it, I want you to think about, of course, access. I want you to think about perpendicular access as far as your stands go, where we're pushing our wind. In this example, it's just food kind of through bedding, poking off of access and being ready for those deer to exit a bedding area. Maybe they're going to more bedding, maybe they're going to food, whatever it may be. So I hope that makes sense. Bear all that in mind. Again, for those of you, even some of the strategies we do have some areas where we are walking like along a field edge, blowing our wind into maybe a mature stand of pines or something around that nature where it's just kind of desert-like. For whatever reason, the deer are not there, and that is okay. Now, I guess the last thing I'll leave you with is you guys need to be able to use sense and adjust. We all need to adjust. Things are going to change, whether it's our neighbors, it's our property. If we have, let's say, deer coming in, If we have deer coming in, let's say, also from the neighbor's property right here, right? I always tell clients, the deer are not just going to go around in a carousel on our property. That's not how it works. We all wish it did. We hope to keep them on the property as much as we can, and we hope they're not going to the neighbor's property until it's dark, destination food sources, things of that nature. But let's say your neighbor has one good spot and they like to peek through right here and then come back to bedding. But let's also say that your neighbor has a big cutting job. He makes some piles. He has different things happen. And now the deer are all of a sudden coming this way, on this side of the stand, hopping on your corridor, going to your food or bedding or what have you. Pay attention to that, because as we combine things with natural movement as much as possible, we need to adjust. So if our wind is blowing this way and the deer are coming up through here, it's not as big of a deal. But if our wind is blowing this way and the deer are coming up here and our wind is gonna blow right on them, it's not gonna allow a mature buck to cross that wind path and get to our travel corridor. Then we need to bump our stand placement up a little bit so that we can stay on the correct side of where the deer are gonna come out and heading to that next thing, food, bedding. So pay attention to that, guys. As you are on your properties, you will get to know them more and more, especially a lot of you, your properties are newer to you, just like it was to me, and I'm still learning things about the property. So that's okay. Give it time. Use your cameras, use your intel, and when you're out there, especially hunting in the fall, and take note of that. Keep a journal, write things down, whatever suits you best. So that's all I have for today. It's been great. I hope to have a couple more videos out here in the near future. The buckwheat's going good, and before you know it, we're going to be putting our fall food in, and it's going to be go time. So we will see you guys next time.